Hey y'all, welcome back to Ascending with Ashley. I'm Ashley. So this is Movie Monday. We do spoilers around here for Movie Monday. If you don't want to know, if you've never seen the movie, I'm talking about Leave the World Behind. Don't watch this. Hang on. I'll make you some popcorn. So I don't know if you've been here. I mean, you would have to watch like every video, but I have been talking about wanting to watch Leave the World Behind, but I don't have Netflix. But then today I learned that on Netflix there is a fucking 4-episode, they're like movie episodes of Gilmore Girls, and they're only available on fucking Netflix. And if you watched Gilmore Girls back in the day, then you know that there is kind of a cliffhanger. Not really, like I was at peace knowing the ending, but now that I know something else was recorded, I was like, fuck it. Plus his dad's coming this week, and he always bitches about stuff to watch. So I bought Netflix for a month. I will be canceling, but anyway, we just put Trolls on and making popcorn. You're on the microwave, so you'll probably hear that. Here are my notes from Leave the World Behind. I thought, because I watched Civil War this month as well, or last month technically, I thought that these two were done really interesting in connection with each other. I think Leave the World Behind it came out last year, 2023. And why is everyone talking about how the Obamas produced it? Because I didn't see the Obamas anywhere in their credits, but I didn't look that hard. But the Obamas are getting a lot of credit for this movie, which I find interesting. Who I did see was Sam Ismail, or Ismail, I'm probably saying that incorrectly. He also did Mr. Robot, I had to look him up, and some other pretty intense stuff. But I didn't see the Obamas. Also, Julia Roberts, who was the main actress, protagonist, was one of the producers, which I don't find too surprising. The very first thing I noticed was the symbology between red and blue, and I think it's really important to talk about. Can you guys see? Hang on, it's almost done. Like, very first thing in the opening credits is the red house. Not the opening credits. There's a lot of foreshadowing in this movie. I am a big fan of foreshadowing. And I thought the ending was pretty cute. Again, we do spoiler alerts around here. I just put Trolls on, and that was the only one we've seen in the movie theater. I think we saw Trolls Band Up, or something, I don't know. It wasn't the original, so now we're watching the original. Let me go give him his popcorn. Give me 1 sec. Hey, girlfriend. Excuse me. Oh, you're such a big dog. Okay. Well, I think I'm gonna have to cut this short, so let me just get to the point. It was a good movie. I thought it was done really interesting. I think the movie shots, or the camera shots, they were like ton coming down, which I think just is very suspenseful because you're expecting something to kind of jump out. But yeah, the camera angles was pretty intense. The music was pretty intense. The reason I say that I feel like this is similar to Civil War is because I think that both of these movies, the way that they've incorporated music specifically, is very pop. What's the word? Cult classic. That's what I mean. You know, like, have you ever seen Kill Bill, or like that guy who does Kill Bill, and he also did Django. Just that style. M. Night Shyamalan, that guy. The Village. I think all of those incorporate music in that way, and those are pretty much, I don't know, I consider them kind of cult classics. I love Kill Bill. That is a great series. Anyway, I actually have a samurai sword. Anyway, it's fake. Anyway, there's one point where the kids are wearing t-shirts in the woods, and one of them says obey, and then the other one says NASA. And so they're literally, you read it as obey NASA, which I thought was pretty fascinating. Going back to the very beginning of the movie though, the symbology during the credits is pretty cool, but the red house is like the very first thing you see, and then you go inside the house and it's blue. And then the very first thing I noticed after I noticed how bright the blue was that there's a coffee mug sitting on the nightstand, and it is an American coffee mug. So the very beginning of this movie, within the first minute, made me have a total realization of red, white, and blue being like American colors. And then it's just like we're having a lot of conversation about Democrats or Republicans, and we're having a lot of conversations about how, well, I mean, if you're on this channel, how they both work together. And so I was like, red, white, and blue. And blue. Not or blue. Red and blue and white. Literally, it's in the title of like anything Americans say. I even put LOL. Because I was like, oh, aha. It was like huge light bulb. So that just goes to show off like birds of a feather flock together. Anyway, the cargo ship was the White Lion. I feel like it was just the subliminal messaging was fun. Nav system. It's a good omen to see deer. I could tell was a foreshadow in the very beginning. The blackout, the cyber attack. Another foreshadow was the ocean wall. So the camera shot shows the ocean wall behind the master bed before they go to the beach. And I've seen the image of the ship beaching, and so I was like, oh, well, that's a foreshadow. Julia Roberts wears a lot of blue in the movie. I think it's interesting because the evil cabal is literally said the evil cabal. I find this very interesting because a lot of QAnoners, which are predominantly MAGA folk, are really gung-ho about the evil cabal. I myself believe in the Illuminati, in the evil cabal. I believe in the elite. I mean, open your eyes, they're real. I don't believe that Trump is the savior, right? But I believe a lot of the things that other folks say. I also believe that Donald Trump is a pedophile. Okay, he's one of them. Whereas the QAnoners believe that Trump is an insider who is kind of like Jesus, like he's gonna save us. But that's like a savior complex that you have to decolonize from. Once you decolonize from that, you realize like, oh, no one's here to save us, right? Like, we're gonna save ourselves. But when the evil cabal is being talked about, I think it's interesting. I really liked the black guy, the main character. I don't know his name. I don't usually like Kevin Bacon either. I liked his character in this movie as well. Just Ethan Hawke, Kevin Bacon, but I need to learn the brother's name. He was really good. I liked him. No one is in charge. No one is pulling the strings. He says that when we're talking about the evil cabal. I thought it was really interesting how they broke the movie up too. That's another cult classic thing, is like part 2, part 3, part 4. I thought that was interesting. The animal patterns, the loud shrieking sounds. I liked the movie. I'm gonna watch it a few more times before I cancel it. I thought it was a good movie. My note was, don't leave your kids anywhere. Keep your kids close. The final stage, I wrote down some shit here. To this point, we've been pretty, haven't really done spoiler alerts, but if you haven't seen the movie, go watch it. You can get Netflix for a month for $6.99. The isolation. Okay, so this is when the brother's talking about, when they're in the car at Kevin Bacon's house, after they get the medicine for the teeth removal guy or whatever. He's talking about the final stage being, like, he works for folks. He's also the one that's talking about the evil cabal. So anyway, he says isolation is the first step. Disable communication and transportation. Make target as deaf, dumb, and paralyzed as possible. 2 is synchronized chaos. terrorize with covert attacks, misinformation, and overwhelm the defense capabilities. Leaving weapon systems vulnerable to extremists and their own military. Without a clear enemy or motive, people would start turning on each other. If done successfully, the third stage would happen on its own. What is the third stage, you ask? Civil War, collapse. And that's why I think it's so interesting that even chronologically, Leave the World Behind came out right before, I mean, within a year, but it was even shorter than that. I think it was around 9 months, which in itself is symbolic, before Civil War. And then so it says this program was the most cost-effective way to destabilize a country. If the target nation was dysfunctional enough, it would, in essence, do the work for you. Quote, "Whoever started this wants us to finish it." And that was essentially like the last quote of the movie. And then it pans to the bombing of New York, and then the little girl in a bunker. And this movie Monday isn't really about critique or like giving a stab, but like I said, I appreciate the way it was put together. I liked the camera's angles are kind of annoying because there are so many like pan downs, and those really make you, as the watcher, because I was noticing how many there were. Like if I were to tally it, like there were tons, but it just puts you on edge because you have to like look in all directions for like what's gonna happen, especially with the music, you know. But what I would say is that this movie's a warning, as is Civil War. And they both, I think, were very well done. I've been really anticipating America to go at war, but I really thought that the last scene at Kevin Bacon's house was important because of the conversation that the men were having about, there were flyers dropped from Korea. Oh, there were flyers dropped from Iraq. Oh, well, my friend did a tour in Iraq. He would have known if that's what it was. This was Mandarin, not Arabic. We've made a lot of enemies. That conversation was spot on, like chef's kiss. And so I just feel like, I don't know. I think one of the things we're going to be talking about in my mass media or hidden messages in mass media class is how the future is either predicted or manifested, right? We've talked about Law of Revelation here as well, where Hollywood will reveal truth through movies and TV shows, but not necessarily pass it off as truth, just as entertainment. So Law of Revelation, right? That's when people tell you exactly what they're doing so that they don't receive karma for their actions. But I really liked this movie. I really liked it. Again, I really like Civil War. I thought they were both really well done. I think it's interesting. And I think it gave us a lot of, as viewers, as especially Americans, if you're an American citizen, I think America's time is coming eventually. America's gonna get its karma for what it has done to the entire planet. And as people who live in the belly of the beast, I think it's important to watch these movies, especially if the Obamas did have something to do with this one, which everyone has been saying. I'll look that up when I'm done here. But I think I highly recommend it. I've been wanting to watch it since it came out. But I really like how these movies are put together, and I think if you take it for what it is, a little beyond entertainment, like I said, what I wrote down about the collapse and turning into a civil war, you can get a head start. For that, go ahead and go watch Mommy Preps. So you can be more like Kevin Bacon than someone who doesn't have anything. Also, your reliance on technology, I would start figuring that out. If you believe that will come one day. But the United States has been talking a lot about a cyber attack for at least a year, 2, 3. There's a lot of scapegoating going on to Russia and China. Remember the China balloon? And so yeah, I think this movie, if you take it and use it as a lens for what could happen, I think one of the most important things about this movie is that the lack of information you will receive once an attack of some sort happens, right? Also, don't be on an airplane. But okay, poor folks don't need to worry about that, right? But that's my take on it. I don't think that a ton of money would be put into creating these movies if they were solely based on entertainment. And I think that about all genres. I think there's always a little bit of truth, at least in pulp culture. I also think that they can be tools for mass manifestation, so not really trying to do that. But as the United States is invading and bombing more countries, it is not far-fetched to expect that other countries are going to attack back. Straight up. I highly recommend this movie and Civil War if you want to have an understanding of what that would look like for this country. Have a good one.